This is Chapter 1, Lesson 3 on rates. This is from the California Math, your Common Core edition. My daughter's in 6th grade, she's doing homeschool, and she's working through this book. And I make these videos for her so she has some extra examples to watch that help her learn the material. And so I share these examples with other parents and kids who are also working through the same textbook. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into an example. It takes Ted 30 minutes to run 3 miles. And we want to know how long will it take Ted to run just 1 mile. And so the strategy is you write down a fraction, and then you have that fraction, and so we'll start off with that. 30 minutes to run 3 miles. So for every 30 minutes, I run 3 miles. Okay, so I've written down this fraction or this rate. One thing we want to be careful of is the units. So by making this choice of putting the 30 over the 3, I'm designating my numerator units as minutes. 30 corresponds to minutes. So I'll put a little reminder that my numerator corresponds to minutes. My denominator, 3 miles, there's the 3, corresponds to miles. So for this particular problem, if you had done 3 over 30, that would actually work out, provided that when you go to this side to write down your equivalent fraction, you make sure that your units are lining up. So here my numerators are always going to correspond to minutes, and my denominators are always going to correspond to miles. If you had done it the other way, then you just need to reverse those. Our goal is to figure out how long it will take Ted to run 1 mile. So we want, instead of 3 miles, we want to know how long it takes him to run 1 mile. So I'm going to take this fraction and write it as an equivalent one, where my denominator is 1. That's called a unit rate, where your denominator is 1. And so I just have to think of the operations I could do to a fraction to go from one fraction to an equivalent one. And here, the appropriate operation is dividing both the numerator and denominator by the number 3, because that'll take this 3 down to a 1. So I'll divide both the numerator and denominator by 3. And that gives me a 10 in my numerator. 30 divided by 3 is 10. And so if Ted takes 30 minutes to run 3 miles, it'll take him 10 minutes, the units are lining up, 10 minutes for every 1 mile. So 10 minutes. Now this section they really emphasize, or this lesson, they really emphasize unit rates. If I had changed the question and said something like, how long will it take Ted to run 6 miles? You would put a 6 down here, and that would change your approach a little bit. In that case, you'd do something slightly different to this fraction. You would multiply both the numerator and denominator by 2 to take that 3 to a 6. That's not the focus of this lesson, but I do want to kind of put that idea out there because this book is going to do those types of problems in lessons in the future, where you're not necessarily reducing a given fraction to simplest form, but you're actually taking the fraction and perhaps making the numbers bigger by multiplying both the numerator and denominator by the same number. All right, so that completes the first example. The second example I'll keep more or less the same, except I'll change the numbers I'm working with. So instead of 30 minutes, I'm going to put 34 minutes. And instead of 3 miles, I'm going to put 4 miles. And the question will be the same. How long will it take Ted to run 1 mile? Okay, so let's go ahead and set it up. So now, for every 34 minutes, I have 4 miles. 34, 4. I want to know how many minutes, right, how long, so how many minutes, there's your unknown, will it take Ted to run 1 mile? 1 mile. And it looks pretty similar to example 1, so you might start off doing the exact same thing. I want to go 4 down to 1, so I'll divide my denominator by 4, and that works out fine. I'll also divide my numerator by 4, And the issue you run into is if you try to divide 34 by 4, you aren't going to get a whole number. That's okay. That doesn't mean this problem's broken. It just means you're going to have to work a little bit harder to figure out what goes here. It doesn't have to be a whole number. A can of soda doesn't always cost a whole number of dollars. Sometimes a can of soda might cost half a dollar or 50 cents. So it's allowed that this number is not a whole number. So let's go off to the side and figure out what this number should be. So I'm going to take 34 and divide it by 4. So we're doing a little bit of arithmetic, and you could be faster than me at arithmetic, you could be slower than me at arithmetic. That part doesn't matter, just as long as we all get the same number there. So 4 goes into 34 8 times. 34 minus 32 is 2. So there's my remainder. So a remainder of 2. And what this tells me is 34 divided by 4 is 8 with a remainder of 2. And so it's 2 out of 4 is what goes here. So the 34 divided by 4 gives me 8 2/4. That 2/4 can be reduced a little bit. So I'll take my 8 2/4 and rewrite just this 2/4 as 1/2, reducing that fraction to simplest form, or simplest terms, lowest terms. So 8.5. The conclusion is that it will take Ted 8.5 minutes to run the 1 mile. So there's my 8.5 minutes for every 1 mile. So now let's move on to the third example. And in this example, we're going to be deciding what is the better buy. So we'll have 2 options for buying cans of soda. And what we're looking to do is find the option that gives me the most soda for every $1 that I spend. And in some grocery stores, you'll see this on the tag that shows the price of the item. You might see something called unit cost, or perhaps in a grocery store they might also call it unit price. I believe the book that we're working out of calls it unit cost. Nope, they call it unit price. So example 3, we have a 12-pack of sodas. And that 12-pack is $3. I'll call that option 1. And the second option is an 18-pack of the same soda is $5. Which is the better buy, option 1 or option 2? So to determine this, to solve this problem and figure out which is the better buy, how should we spend our money on this soda, what we're going to do is find a unit price for each of the 2 options. So I'll do option 1 first, and after I do option 1, that's one of those great times to pause the video and try to figure out what's going on with option 2. Let's start with option 1. For 12 sodas, it costs $3. So I'm figuring out how much soda do I get for some number of dollars, and I want to know the unit price, which means I want a denominator of 1. How many sodas do I get for that $1? This works out in a way similar to example 1, where I divide my denominator by 3, I divide my numerator by 3, my numerator is divisible by 3, so I get a nice whole number here, which means the computation was easy, but conceptually, even if this wasn't divisible by 3, I'd do the same thing. I would just have to do some maybe long division off to the side. So with option 1, I get 4 sodas. Remember, my numerator is corresponding to sodas, and my denominator is corresponding to dollars, so for $1. That's option 1. And now let's move on to option 2. pause the video and try it if you haven't done so already. So option 2, 18 sodas for every $5. I'm looking for the unit price, so I want a denominator of 1. How many sodas am I getting for my $1? So to get a denominator of 1, I need to divide 5 by 5, which means I also need to do the same thing to my numerator, divide 18 by 5. And this is more like example 2, where my numerator is not divisible by 5. That's not a problem. It just means I might not have a whole number here. I'll go off to the side, do a long division calculation to figure out what's going on. So 5 into 18. 5 goes into 18 3 times. 18 minus 15 is 3. So there's my remainder of 3. Therefore, 18 divided by 5. 5 goes into 18 3 times. The remainder is 3, and I put that remainder over 5. So what's the conclusion in this case? Again, numerators corresponding to sodas. That's very important to keep track of these units. Numerators corresponding to sodas, denominators corresponding to dollars. So with option 2, I'm getting 3 and 3/5 sodas per $1. The last part of the problem, now that I've found both the unit price in both cases, is to see which one's the better buy. And so I compare. On this side, I get 4 sodas per every $1 I spend. On this side, I'm getting less than 4. I'm getting 3 and some fraction, so definitely something less than 4. So option 1 is the better buy because I'm getting more sodas per dollar. One closing remark is that with each of those long division calculations I did, in example 2 and then over here, you may have gone further, or maybe this crossed your mind, is to use decimals over here, and that would be perfectly fine. Instead of having your answer as a mixed fraction, you would just have 3 point something. In this case, I think it'd be 3.6. In example 2, it'd be 8.5. And those answers are equally as valid. It just means you represented this division in using different notation, decimal notation, as opposed to fraction notation.